Bright QT. Every student matters.
Hello students. So let's talk about next topic here, that is causes of revolution. Now previously you have learnt about the situation of France before the revolution, right? And in this we understood various points. Now if I ask you the basic question here, when did the French Revolution take place? What are you going to answer? You are going to tell that it took place on, or it started or commenced on 14th July 1789. And what was that famous event? So it was the storming of Bastille, right students? That marked the beginning of the French Revolution. Then we understood about the ancient regime or the old regime. How was the society like? That was based on feudal system. I also made you understand the feudal system. Then we again talked about the French society that evolved afterwards from 13th century onwards. We talked about the French society that was divided into 3 estates. Correct? Yes. And the first state that consisted of clergy, the second state that consisted of the nobles, and the third state that consisted of the common people, right? Now here, this is one of the main points that we have to understand in this chapter, that is the causes of the revolution. Now like I told you while I was introducing this topic, so I told you students that there are many factors responsible for the revolution, for the sudden violent actions that were taken by the common people. Now, these causes, it can be social, it can be political, it can be economic, religious, and many more. So here, one by one, we are going to understand all these reasons, all these causes, right, that led to the French Revolution. So in the beginning, you already have known that it was Louis XVI who belonged to the Bourbon dynasty, who was the ruler when the revolution took place, right? We discussed in the question as well. So it was in the year 1774 that Louis XVI, belonging to the Bourbon family, and he was the successor of whom? The famous kings of Louis XIV, Louis XV. But they were quite infamous in certain ways, as they were not able to keep up the governance here in France, right? So Louis XVI, he ascended the throne in France at the age of 20, and he was married to Austrian princess whose name was Marie Antoinette. Okay, so please remember the name here. Now what are we seeing in France at this time? We see that Louis XVI, he had to see empty treasury in France, and there were several reasons for this empty treasury. What do you understand by this empty treasury here? It means that the government, the king, he did not have any money for his administration, for his people, as in how he is going to work. So most of these were in loans, right? All the amount that were given in loans, and there were many factors that led to this empty treasury. Let us try to understand that. So financial stress in the region because of wars. Now wars played a significant role in this financial stress. Why students? Because whenever we are talking about wars, now if France is involved in any war, it means that money is being utilized here. Why? In arms and ammunitions, in keeping up with the soldiers, and also various other things, right? So here we see that financial stress was mainly here because of wars, cost of maintaining the Versailles court along with army and government offices, another important point here, and support that was provided by France to the American colonies, right? So there were 13 American colonies, and they wanted to gain independence against whom? Against Britain. So France decided to support the American War of Independence here, the independence of American colonies, let's say, and much of the money here was involved in this, right? And it led to financial stress in France. Apart from this, the famous court of France, that is the Versailles court, that was quite huge and it required maintenance. So most of the money it was used here as well. Money was also used in maintaining army and the government offices, right? Apart from this, the whole war that we are talking about, it added more than a billion livres to debt of 2 billion livres, right? So this is the currency of France at that time, right students? So here we see that more and more debt that was rising in France. Now, lenders who gave state credit began charging 10% interest on loans. Not only this, now what happened? Since they were in debt, they were in loans, since they were in debts, they were asking for loans from different people, right? In fact, it can be people, it can be institutions, it can be different areas, adjoining regions from which France asked for help. And these lenders who gave state the credit, now they also began charging 10% interest. So definitely it was a huge cost for France. So definitely when Louis XVI, he came to the power, when he ascended the throne, he saw that the grim condition that existed there. Now French society in 18th century, again it was divided in 3 states. And what have we learned in this point here? Yes, we learned that it was only the third state that bear the brunt of paying taxes. Correct or not? The clergy and nobles, they were not giving or paying any taxes. It was only the third state that paid taxes. So this is an important point here. So you must keep that point in mind. So here in this part, what are we understanding? We see that in France, the economic situation was not that great or not that good when Louis XVI he came to power, right? Empty treasury for any region is not a good sign. And getting into loans is again, it was a bad factor. And all these reasons, when we will learn about the social factors, when we learn about economic factors more and more, the political factors again. So we will see that all these reasons, all these factors combined, it led to the French Revolution. Why? Because this was not good for the third estate, the common people, right, who were facing the heavy burden of these taxes. Okay, students? Now we will continue it with the other important causes, right? The coming up of the social group, the new social group here. Okay? Thank you.